Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. Of course, I'm your host, David On Point Huffman. On today's episode of the Prom, we want to do a real quick winners and losers show for the first round of the NFL draft, which was last night. Obviously, the second and third rounds get kicked off here within the next few minutes. So, if you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. But we're just going to give you our first real rapid fire kind of winners and losers from the first night of the NFL draft. I just want to say congratulations to everyone who got their name called on night one of the NFL draft. Especially their whole lives they were working up to this moment to get drafted in the NFL, and now they heard their names read by Roger Goodell. And that's something to take away from anyone who's going to get drafted after that. It's still an honor and a privilege to be in the National Football League, and kudos to all of their families that put in all the hard work to get them into the situation that they're in now. So just love to see, all that hard work pay off for these professional athletes who will make an impact, hopefully, on your favorite football team. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so I was really hyped about what the Bears did with their first two picks in the NFL draft. I'm excited to see what they do tonight. I don't think they have a second. I think they're just stuck with just a third at this point. So, but yeah, we're just going to kind of break down what we thought about night one of the NFL draft. If you had some winners and losers you want to let me know about, please let that down in the comment section below. But yes, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We give you guys basically daily content, the little up-to-date content you can come up with, including the National Basketball Station, college basketball, college football. We even dabble into professional wrestling, a little bit of baseball here and there. But that's all the content that we have. We also have a streaming platform. We also have a website where we post all of our articles and things of that nature. So keep an eye out for all that content. Again, I'm David Huffman. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. My co-host, Mr. Israel Rivera, should be joining us here on the podcast. He's finishing up on a web article that he will post on our website. So let's talk about it. First round recap, winners and losers. So we're just going to start. We're going to do we're going to start this a little bit differently. So instead of doing the winners first, because, we kind of want to end this show on a positive note. Let's start on the other side of the coin and let's talk about them losers. Let's start first with the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, a really head-scratching pick in the first round. It's not so much the player or the position, or really the player, because, he's probably worthy of being a first-round pick. It's really more about the fact that you gave Kirk Cousins this fatty contract with 4 years on it, because you expect him to be the starting quarterback. And then you go out and not even a month later, and you take a quarterback with the 8th overall pick in this year's draft. So you paid Kirk Cousins 4 years, $180 million to be your signal caller. And you don't because you have him on your roster at such an enormous number, you don't even really get the benefit of having a Michael Penix Jr. on your team on the rookie scale, because he's going to need an extension by the time you're ready to really play him, depending on how things go for Kirk Cousins. I understand having an insurance policy just in case Kirk Cousins is not the same player that he was Achilles tear, but taking him in the first round, that just seems like a wild hit or miss on. I just don't understand that decision making. You could have taken a Spencer Rattler in a later round and kind of had him on your books. Because you're going to have this guy on your team. You have to make a decision on him on his 5th-year option after year 4, and there's no guarantee he's even going to play at that point. Not to mention, you kind of upset Kirk Cousins with this pick. You give him all this money in free agency, and then you go out and you basically upset him on draft night by taking a guy who's basically going to be his replacement. It reminds me a lot of the Aaron Rodgers situation with Jordan Love, only to obviously a lesser extent, because obviously Kirk Cousins doesn't have the stature or the tenure on the Atlanta Falcons that an Aaron Rodgers had. But this is just a really head-scratching pick. I don't really understand it, and I'm not really sure how they're going to go about justifying it, given the fact that they're in win-now mode, right? And they need to take a piece that would help them win now. You have Kirk Cousins. It just doesn't make – it's a huge reach. It's also a major reach. J.J. McCarthy was still here, and whatever you think about J.J. McCarthy, he's younger. I don't understand this pick. I just don't get it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense on this. He was not as good as Bo Nix as a prospect. He wasn't as good as J.J. McCarthy as a prospect. He went before both of those guys. Atlanta must have really been in love with him, but it's real head scratching in my opinion. I don't get it. So If anybody wants to try to make sense of that Falcon situation for me, because I'm in a bunch of group chats and like I tried to justify it by the fact that Kirk Cousins isn't going to play forever, and then I thought about it a lot more. And yeah, it just doesn't pass the smell test. Like it just doesn't. I don't get it. You pay Kirk Cousins and you immediately draft a guy. Just help me make sense of that situation. Swinging in from there, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, they get arguably what could be a generational type talent at 13 in Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, who's going to be a fantastic football player. But I personally, you had Michael Mayer that you took last year in the second round. Tight end was really not a place of like an area of need for the Las Vegas Raiders. Not to mention, they don't really have a quarterback that's really there to really throw him the football right now. They got Gardner Minshew, they got Aiden O'Connell. They have some other guys in their depth that I don't really remember right now off the top of my head. Not that they are really all that relevant, but Brock Bowers is going into a situation. Sure, he's probably one of the top 5 players in this draft, and to get him at 13 is wonderful value. But this is a luxury pick at a tight end. Like having a tight end this good is a luxury pick, and the Raiders are not in a scenario where they could be taking luxury picks. They have holes all over their offense, all of their defense. What's up, TJ? Welcome to the show, man. I didn't see you down there.
Same shit, different day.
But I'm going through losers right now. I haven't done winners yet. My first loser was the Atlanta Falcons. I just don't understand the Kirk Cousins. Like I don't understand the Michael Penix pick, especially after you gave Kirk Cousins that kind of money. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's what makes it look bad. I'm sorry, I woke up like 10 minutes ago officially.
You're good.
It's Stephen A. Smith was on First Take saying you got $100 million guaranteed. Shut the hell up. That's not the point in this situation. Like the money is why he should be upset.
You went there to try to win now. Like, this is not a win now. This is not a win now pick. Like this is hey, we're already planning for when you're not here.
Done. Exactly. It's like that's why. So it's like everybody's saying the same thing. Like, why pay him what you paid him?
Yeah.
If you're just
you easily could have played. You took that Kirk Cousins money and spread it around the roster if you were just going to take a quarterback anyways. Because Michael Penix is ready to play now. Like he's not a guy who should be sitting. He's already 24, 25 years old. He's not a guy who should sit behind another quarterback for 3+ seasons and then come. He'll be 28 years old by that point. It just doesn't. It's zero, the pick makes zero sense. And then I said the Las Vegas Raiders with Brock Bowers. I just don't like. This is a luxury pick for a team that isn't in luxury mode. Like they have holes in their offensive line. They still have major questions at quarterback. They have major questions at defensive back and like really all over their defense outside of Max Crosby. I don't like that pick. I don't get it. He's good value at 13. I just don't like his fit.
Great value at right. It's not a good fit. I felt like New Orleans would have been a better fit for Brock Bowers, but considering what they're going through with their offensive line, I have no issue with them going offensive line in New Orleans because Ramczyk possibly out.
He's got like a knee, something nerve, knee stuff. Like,
Ramczyk out.
Trevor Penning hasn't really worked out on the other side. He's probably going to be swung in a guard at some point in his career. My other loser, I got 2 more losers. Then I'll let you have yours. I got the Cincinnati Bengals as another loser. I just don't really understand, like, given the other offensive tackle prospects that were still on the board at 18, and I realize that Amarius Mims has immense upside, but he has like 8 career starts in college football, and I just don't. If I'm the Bengals, like I need to hit on this because Joe Burrow is getting killed. 2 of the 4 seasons that he's been in the NFL have been ended early by injury. And for you to kind of just
don't mind the Amarius Mims pick.
this is me personally. This is my personal opinion. The guy has 8 career starts in the NFL. I think there were better options. Troy Fontenot was a better prospect in my opinion than Amarius Mims. This guy just yes, he has the prototypical size, but we could be looking at this as like a Mekhi Becton situation a few years from now. Even though Becton is really more injuries than play. But I don't really get this pick, and I think there were better offensive tackles on the board at 18. I think there were better ways that could have gone with this. It's just not a good pick. That's my honest opinion.
Okay. So I agree with you on the Atlanta being a loser. That just makes no sense because like you said, you summed it up perfectly. You're drafting a play now, ready to play now guy, and he's not going to play.
Yeah.
And you damn sure didn't pay Kirk Cousins what you pay him to be a backup. Like you didn't. Like that's what we're not finna do here. And then I gotta put.
Well, I got one more. If you want to wait.
Go ahead.
And my other one is just defensive players in general in this draft. You had 9 total defensive players taken in the first round. Didn't see one come off the board until 14 for the Indianapolis Colts. So they took Latu. It was just a bad draft to be a defensive player in this draft. But if you're an NFL team, I mean, you're looking at the second round. I mean, there are some really good football players that are going to be second round picks, especially on the defensive side of the football. I mean, you got Cooper Tujan, you got Johnny Newton, the kid from Illinois, reigning Big Ten defensive player of the year. But in the first round, it was not ideal to be defensive player in this particular draft. As we only saw 9 come off the board. Most of them defensive backs, and only 2 edge rushers. I mean, we had Latu. We had Chop Robinson too.
Jared Vargas 3.
Yeah, so 5. So there were like 4 defensive backs and 5 edge rushers.
Yeah, and Byron Murphy, 1 DT.
Yeah.
Atlanta loser, Vegas, because they just who's throwing them the ball?
I brought that up. I mean, they got Gardner Minshew and his manly mustache and beard, and then they got Aiden O'Connell, and that's about it.
Like this Raiders fan and Christian sports group, he swears by we got a quarterback already. No, you don't. Like Gardner Minshew is not the future. Like Gardner Minshew is probably going to be good for the first month of the season. Then he's going to hit a rough patch because that's the story of Gardner Minshew, right? He's going to put up numbers. He's going to have games where he looks like, hey, he looks fucking phenomenal. Then he's going to have games where it's like, I see why you bounced around the way that you have. Izzy with these shades is killing me, bro. This is
we're
on the losers. We haven't done winners yet. Do you want to just give me one of your losers? We got to move on to winners. I'm in a bit of a time.
I could be real quick with all of them. I just posted winners and losers right now. But losers, Atlanta Falcons probably my number one. With
everybody's number one.
It's everybody number one. Michael Penix Jr. The Buffalo Bills trading down twice.
I don't necessarily hate it. I don't, because they have a bunch of holes and they needed to pick up future draft capital and current draft capital, and they still could get the guy that they want. Like if they wanted Donnie Mitchell, he's right there. I don't think they're losers. I don't think they're losers. Not to mention the two picks they traded. I actually think the guy they took players I think both times the Chiefs. I think they reached for a wide receiver, and then they traded for Carolina. I think they reached for a wide receiver. Yeah, I think both of those are reaches.
Xavier Leggett's a hell of a player, but I think both of those guys they could have used. But you are right, Adonai Mitchell they could take right at that first round. But I feel like, man, you're losing Xavier Worthy.
It just
could possibly be another Tyreek Hill, another Devontae Smith type of player to the Chiefs who
that's
beat
why
you.
It looks. That's why it looks bad. That's
why to the Chiefs.
It's
taking JC Tennessee Titans taking JC Latham. over Roma Dunze and Olu Fushanu. I had both of those guys ahead of those guys.
I don't hate that pick either.
I don't like that pick.
I mean, for a need, it makes sense. But whenever teams get to this point where they draft on just straight need alone, it's usually where they kind of make mistakes. There were better players on the board at that pick than they could have taken. Than where they could have taken Jason Lee. They could have. They still had problems at wide receiver. Like Sadi Calvin really.
They could have moved back, David.
They could have traded back. We also have to have teams that are willing to trade up, and we didn't see a single through the first 15 picks. We didn't see a single trade up. There was nobody outside of Minnesota.
And I got two more. I got two more real quick defensive players. Even though I think a lot of the defensive players that are far the second round especially, you're going to see all the defensive players, all the good ones, go off the board. But they, cost themselves some money because it was such an offensive draft. And then my last one is Brock Bowers.
I mean,
going to the Vegas Raiders.
That's how they control, man. Like defensive players.
I know, but Brock Bowers is a loser in my draft because that franchise is so dysfunctional.
I have one
even
more,
though Antonio
Pierce,
right? Sorry, even though Antonio Pierce has cultivated that locker room, the inconsistency at quarterback play, despite Gardner Minshew being there, David, is going to. And then next year, you're talking about the Raiders possibly getting the franchise quarterback next year, a rookie coming in there. The first 2-3 years for Brock Bowers is, gonna be.
Not to mention,
hard.
They took Michael Mayer last year with the second round.
Exactly.
They didn't need a tight end. They absolutely made a luxury pick for a team that's not in a position to take luxury picks.
I gotta lose.
It wasn't necessarily the Raider reach, but it was necessarily I don't think it was just a great fit for Brock Bowers.
I think another loser is I understand they got the player and they did what they had to do to get the player, so I will never knock that. But Minnesota going from 23 to 17, giving up what they gave up to jump. They gave up a lot. They gave up a lot.
I mean, we'll talk about Minnesota in a minute, but I think they're winners. I think they're winners. They escaped out of. They leave out of this draft with Dallas Turner with a top 10.
It's possible. It's possible you can be both.
They didn't have to give up their first round pick next year. And yes, they have 6 picks next year. They have a plethora of 5th round picks and then a first. I don't know what happened to everything else they own in out of that draft, but I swinging into the winners just real quick. I think Minnesota's a big winner. I like getting JJ McCarthy and not having to give up your other first round pick in this year's draft, which everybody mocked was this is they're gonna have to give up 2 first round picks. They did not have to do that. They move up 1 slot to get JJ McCarthy.
That's why I love that. I love moves like that, where you don't. Because like you said, they made it sound like, oh, they're gonna have to trade the future just to move up to get this one guy. We saw that. Mac Jones.
That allowed them. Yeah, that allowed them to make the move to get Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is a top 10 prospect in this draft. It's just the fact that 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12. So everybody else at every other position got pushed back in the draft. And they get Dallas Turner as a straight steal. The guy's going to be good.
That is a straight steal for them.
I think
even though they gave up a future 3rd, a future 4th, and pick 167 to Jacksonville. It's not going to matter to Minnesota, especially if Dallas Turner ends up being a top 10. The potential that he should be.
I have a real good friend here in Fort Wayne. He's a big Minnesota Vikings fan, and he called me after that went down, and he's like, "Yo, we're gonna be the best defense in the NFL." I'm like, "Whoa, pump the brakes a little bit here."
So my question. Here's my question. So obviously, I think more people have. I think the crowd has more faith in Dallas Turner versus J.J. McCarthy, and Keon Coleman is a Buffalo Bill. That just happened.
Yeah, like it.
So my question is this: do you have faith in J.J. McCarthy doing in Minnesota what he wasn't asked to do at Michigan? Because he wasn't asked to carry.
I think the thing with he tested he wasn't added to that much, but he's not capable of doing so. And I have faith that JJ McCarthy is going to be good. And Minnesota had to do something at quarterback. I don't think you could go into the season with just Sam Darnold on your roster. And yes, they could have addressed it later, but like JJ McCarthy, it was the consensus guy. And like, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be. He doesn't even necessarily need to start right away, but he will.
One, he's a winner. Two, he's very accurate with the football, and he's got every throw. He can make every throw.
He's got a pretty strong arm for like
very strong arm. Got good zip. And also he also is athletic at the quarterback position. I'm not saying that he can run for.
I'm not trying to knock JJ McCarthy, but like, is he like the?
And he's playing with two great wide receivers. Is he
like the things that you said?
And the great tight end and a decent, pretty good offensive line with Brian O'Neill and Kevin Shadarius.
But it's like, is he like the stuff you just said, right? The stuff you just said, like he's a winner. He does like how many guys that we see win in college, right? Have all the stuff you just said. They won a lot in college. They were pretty accurate. They could make all the throws. They had way more responsibility than JJ McCarthy ever had, but they didn't pan out.
Man, but you know what though, TJ? It's the coach he played for and the system he played in. He played in the pro system with Jim Harbaugh, who knows his shit. I mean, God, man,
he's being compared to Zach Wilson, and to me, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful as hell to me. Like you cannot compare JJ McCarthy to Zach Wilson. Like you can't do that. You can't do that.
I mean, Zach Wilson had literally one good season.
Way up like the hype.
It's not even that. It's just the plays that. It's the plays that Zach Wilson made at BYU.
He was like
very erratic.
So he didn't play a strong schedule at BYU. His ones like the season that he played, he basically the season that he had his breakout season. Like they didn't play anyone really all that good because most teams were canceling their football season because of COVID, and BYU continued to play. But my personal opinion, I think Minnesota is a big winner. I think getting Dallas Turner, getting JJ McCarthy, I have them as a winner.
I need Darren Orlovsky to I just because he said some shit today that JJ McCarthy is going to be a better prospect than Caleb Williams. I'm on like, okay,
please.
Where's this?
Oh damn, my bad. That was one of my winners. That was one of my winners. Was Chicago? Did I mention the Chicago Bears?
No.
Go ahead. Oh damn, my bad. Oh shit, I was talking about losers. Oh, you know what?
We're swinging in. We're doing winners now.
No, we're doing winners.
We're doing winners.
We didn't do. I did losers first. So, I wanted to do the negativity and then the positivity. So now we're on winners. I already brought up Minnesota. I think Minnesota's a big winner, and I agree with you. I think Chicago is also a big winner.
Do you guys just want to talk about? Wait, can I just go into this one though first?
Go ahead.
Let's go into this one before we kind of go into Chicago. I think a big winner. I think both of those teams were winners. Jacksonville's a winner too.
I agree with you.
Jacksonville moved down to 23. They gained 167. They gained 2 future picks in the 3rd or 4th round in next year's draft, and they were able to get arguably the 4th best wide receiver in the draft in Brian Thomas.
The other thing that I like about the Jaguars, right, is I think they got the guy they would have taken at 17 anyways.
Yes.
And they were able to pick up future draft capital and this year's draft capital. They think the guy they probably would have taken at 17. Like it
just looks like less egregious of a reach because you move, like you get what I'm saying? Like you move down to get your guy. Like I agree with you, David. Like they probably would have got Brian Thomas at 17 anyway. But getting him at 23 looks a lot, I can work with that versus, damn, man, you got him at 17. You got it like a top 20 pick versus a top 25 pick.
I wouldn't have been mad if they got him at 17. I wouldn't have been mad if they got him at 17 anyways, because one of the things I want to say, Brian Thomas is a hell of a route runner. He's very smooth. He's a red zone threat. He's big. He's fast. And, the one thing about Brian Thomas, I think the only knock is that he played with Malik Neighbors. So you're looking for him to be that standout guy, in a wide receiver room, which he is yet to be. He kind of plays Robin to somebody's Batman. But, hey, I'm okay with that. He's a hell of a talent. I think he can edge out multiple 1,000-yard seasons in Jacksonville as long as you have another guy to take off some of that brunt, from him, which I think
he should come in right away. He should come in right away, fill in the Calvin Ridley slot. Like, hey, we have
and he's got Gabe Davis that'll take the top off the defense, and you got Christian Kirk there still.
And then swinging into Chicago, yeah, I think that they did a slam dunk of a first round. Getting Caleb Williams, getting Roma Dunze, they took the flight together, and now they get to play together. They were obviously really excited about playing with each other. This is a super good pick for this guy, and a super good draft. I mean, I know they don't have a second round pick, but their first round is a home run.
Their first round's a home run, and they don't have. They only have 2 picks. I don't even want to. They have 2 picks in the rest of the draft. But go ahead, TJ. I know you're excited to talk about.
I think that no matter what they did at 9, I think folks would have been happy if they went Dallas Turner at 9. They would have loved it. They went if they shored up the offensive line at 9. They would. I think like Brian Poles was in a very rare situation where there was like no wrong. Like there was like no wrong. Like he could have done no wrong at 9. Like I don't even think people would have been mad if he traded back for the right price.
Yeah.
And
people would have gotten. I mean, getting future draft capital. I mean, this is a Caleb Williams going into a situation that no rookie quarterback that I can remember in my lifetime is going into a situation that with a top 10-ish offensive line with weapons out the wazoo, with a good running game, with a top 6 defense.
Pause. You mean a number 1 overall pick? Because there have been quarterbacks that have gone to really great situations, a la Aaron Rodgers,
for first round picks, like their first season, like going into like a situation where they're going to be the starter. There's never.
I'm actually right though, David. A number 1 overall pick. You got to change that to number 1 overall pick. Because there have been quarterbacks.
This is a better situation than what Aaron Rodgers was. Aaron Rodgers didn't play for his first season.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's the number 1. It's a number 1. No number 1 overall pick has gone into a situation like this.
No, first round pick. Period.
No. What?
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, Aaron Rodgers
did not go into a better situation. His first season, Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 seasons. He knew he was going to sit.
Going in to back up Brett Favre. What?
This Caleb Williams situation is much better. Are you kidding me?
You're wrong.
No, I'm not. Because I see number 1 overall pick.
You're wrong.
Sometimes you know what? Hold on, y'all. Sometimes on this show, I feel like Paul Pierce.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I be having 2 motherfuckers against me at all times.
Where are the strippers at?
It be like ticket be coming after me, and I be having
you say some outlandish stuff, and that was one of them, bro. Like
that was not one of them. No,
are you kidding me?
I'm just trying to say, bro.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't even a starter.
So wait, hold on. So
the glass is about to come off.
No. I'm saying you're saying first round pick ever has never gone, bro. Yeah, that's why I said he's the number 1 overall pick. How many number 1 overall picks have we seen go into this?
It's the
there
same.
Have been late first rounders that have gone into a decent ass.
Who?
Okay, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson was not going into a situation as good as this one in Chicago. Who were his wide receivers? His first season?
No, they were like what? How many years removed from the Super Bowl?
Who were their wide receivers? Who was on that team? Who were the wide receivers on that team? Who was the running?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. What do you mean? That's the argument. That's the whole argument.
David. I want to tear down the Chicago Bears and go on this rant. This is what we do because I'm a Packer fan. And you know what? I would say this. My draft starts tonight because we got 2 seconds and 2/3, and we looking good. Hey, look. By the way, look. Like I said, Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Just to your answer your Lamar Jackson point, they were 5 years removed from that Super Bowl win.
Well, 5 years.
A lot can happen in 5 years, bro. Like a lot can happen. They basically changed the roster mid-season for Lamar Jackson. They like, hey, Flacco, you're out. This guy doesn't work. This guy doesn't work. That guy doesn't work. And
they became a successful team.
But they still like the foundations were still there. Pat Mahomes didn't play. He didn't
play his first season.
It doesn't matter if he didn't play. Did he go into a better fucking situation or not?
No.
What are you talking about?
Are you kidding me?
Fucking playing for Andy Reid, backing up fucking Alex Smith with a great team. Are you kidding me?
We're talking about guys who are going to play day one.
Yeah, day one.
Fix your statement.
It's implied.
And not first round pick.
It's kind of implied.
It's implied. I mean, like, it's implied. I mean, if we're going into a rookie season, like, we're implying he's going to play right away.
Also, we're not going to sit here and act like Pat Mahomes didn't have a lot of question marks, because he did. Like people act like Pat Mahomes was good the entire time. Like, no, there were Chiefs fans who hated the Pat Mahomes pick. Don't believe me? Look it up.
Anyways, before I also have one more winner. I get my other winner is actually 3 position groups. It's wide receiver, offensive tackle, and quarterbacks. So 9 wide receivers taken in the first round, 9 offensive tackles taken in the first round, 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. It's good to be wide receivers, offensive tackles, and quarterbacks at 2024. That's for sure.
23 offensive.
I mean,
picks.
We are
it's record.
Well, we are what
the previous record was 19.
We're
6 picks picked in the 14 at quarter. 6 quarterbacks were picked in the top 14. The first 14 picks were offensive picks. Yeah. Were offensive picks. That's a record. So there are 3 records broken on NFL.
We're 3 picks into the third round, and the first 2 were wide receivers. So you can add 25 out of the first.
If I'm 30, Johnny Newton, I'm pissed.
30 whatever picks.
Hey, look. Hey, if I am Johnny Newton right now.
If I'm Atlanta chose the DT out of Clemson over him. So, I'm
destroying. If I'm Johnny Newton, we love watch the podcast. If I'm Johnny Newton, I'm wreaking havoc on all those teams that pass me up.
But
I got a couple more losers. Can I?
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
A couple more winners.
Rapid fire.
You know what? Actually, that was it for me. I thought I had a couple more. I mean, I could say Arizona's a winner too. There we go. Arizona's a winner.
Yeah,
getting the best offensive player, I think, in the draft in Marvin Harrison Jr.
Maserati Marv, baby, come on.
Maserati Marv.
But thank you very much for checking us out here on our 2024 NFL draft coverage. This is our winners and losers of the first round. We will have a full recap of the NFL draft at some point next week. Just keep an eye out for that content. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much. You watched that heated conversation about the Caleb Willie. Man, that got feisty. Let's go.
Of course it is. Hey, I like that. I like that. It's competition.
I take it back. I have another loser. I have another loser.
I feel like you got another loser?
Yeah, Drake May.
Drake May.
I mean, you're the top 3, the 3rd overall pick.
No, you're going into. You talking about a
bad situation.
Fucking terrible.
I have no one. Kendrick. Yeah, his number 1 wide receiver is Kendrick Bourne. That's not ideal.
I feel you, Paul Pierce. I feel you, Paul.
But thank you very much for checking us out. I'm David Huffman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Y'all have a good weekend.
Let me predict something though. You know who's gonna be a winner overall in this whole draft?
Shut up.
Who's that?
The Green Bay Packers, baby. Let's go. 2 second rounders, 2 third rounders. I'm stoked. Let's go, baby.
We'll be back here on Monday. Y'all have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Peace out, guys.